Giovanni and all, let me be brief about this because I think there will be a lot of information that everyone's listening. I think one of the things that Giovanni, you asked all of us to consider is to talk about what might be useful ADR topics that we want to share either with ourselves or with other people into the future. And I thought some of the things that are worthwhile considering, particularly since in the last couple of months I've been traveling around the region, is that people I think are interested in a few themes. Apart from the Singapore Convention, which is some of the evergreen themes which everyone wants to know about, but I think Singapore Convention has been spoken about quite a lot, and really there's not much that's going on except looking for more countries to sign and ratify the convention. But apart from talking about the convention to the unconverted, some of the other interesting things or themes that we might want to be talking about would be the trends of ADR, the culture of mediation or ADR. In some countries, court annex mediation continues to dominate the scene. That's something that might interest people. I have also a theme called Singapore style mediation, which can also be translated into an Asian style mediation. It sort of talks about how different mediations are conducted differently based on the different cultural contexts. And then you might have a last that deals with mediation legislation and law. So those are some of the themes that I think can be spoken about. Let me quickly just also say that in Singapore, we've had a pretty long history as mediation goes within this region. Just more than 20 years ago, the first Singapore Mediation Center was incorporated, was put up, and that Singapore Mediation Center was housed in the Supreme Court. Since then, there's been lots of developments in Singapore, starting with court annex mediations. Lawyers became, you could say, partners with the courts in bringing mediation to users. And so that's gone on for a long time in our state courts, which is our lower courts. In the High Court, you don't have mandatory mediation or anything close to court annex mediation, but commercial parties who want to engage in mediation can use the services of Singapore Mediation Center or go out to appoint your own mediator under an ad hoc scheme. Quickly now, in the last 5 years, I think the most intensive development has come in the space of family practice. In family disputes now, there is a requirement that disputants engage in mediation before the matter is heard in court. In the commercial space, in relation to commercial disputes, it's still up to the parties, but in lower level disputes, you find that there is what we call a presumption that parties will engage in ADR. And if they do not do so with a good reason, then cost sanctions can be ordered against the party by the court at the end. So that's family space, commercial space. Recently, our courts also revised and came up with a new set of rules of court. This is a brand new set of rules, which among its new provisions has Order 5 that deals with almost compulsory amicable resolution of disputes. So with the rules now encouraging parties to mediate disputes, you find that more and more the Singapore adversarial scene is going to slowly shift towards a more collaborative process, spread across different spectrums of dispute resolution. I'll just end with one final note that with this shift constantly moving from adversarial towards collaborative, you're going to find, I think, that within the Singapore dispute resolution context, there will be a need for lawyers to become dexterous and able to manage both the work of a adversarial dispute resolution method like litigation and arbitration, but being equally able to administer collaborative process like direct negotiations, mediation, or those kinds of conciliation to enable parties to choose the right dispute resolution mode to settle their disputes. And if the lawyers don't choose to do that, the professional conduct rules have certain provisions that might affect the lawyer's ability to practice if he doesn't comply with those requirements. So I'm going to stop talking because a lot of these I think can be found in the literature, but this is to give you a broad sweep context of what's been happening in Singapore. Thank you, Giovanni.